In game theory, there are two forms of a game. First is the normal form, and the second is the extensive form. We shall discuss the extensive form in the succeeding videos, but meanwhile, let us discuss the normal form of a game in this video and how to create one. A two-player game in normal form is a table of numbers with the strategies listed along the margins of the table and the payoffs for the participants in the cells of the table. In the normal form of a game, the row player is player number 1 and the column player is player number 2. Now what you see in the slide is the normal form of the rock, paper, and scissors game. As you can see, each player have the same set of strategies. The strategies are to show rock, to show paper, or to show scissors. Now if player 1 chooses paper and player 2 chooses scissors, the outcome in the game would be the following ordered pair, which is -1, 1. The first coordinate, -1, is the outcome for the row player or player number 1. And the second coordinate, which is +1, is the outcome for player number 2, which is the column player. That is because scissors cut paper. So in that case, player 2 defeats player number 1. Now let us recall the prisoner's dilemma game or the prisoner's dilemma scenario presented in the first video under game theory. In this scenario, there are three cases. Case A would be if one of the suspects or if only one of the suspects confesses, then the one who confessed goes to jail for 1 year and the other who remains silent will go to jail for 25 years. The second case is when neither of the suspects confess, then each of them will go to jail for 3 years. And the last case is if both suspects would confess, then each will go to jail for 10 years. We let capital C to be the strategy to confess and capital R to be the strategy to remain silent. And then we form the following table. So as you can see, the row player is the first suspect and the column player is the second suspect. So first, if both of them confess, then each will go to jail for 10 years. Now, time spent in jail means losing years of freedom. So instead of using +10 for the outcomes or the payoffs, we shall use -10. So in this case, since both players would confess, then we shall put -10, -10 in the following cell. So this means that player 1 gets -10 and player 2 gets -10. Now, if player 1 confesses and player 2 remains silent, that means that player 1 gets -1 while player 2 gets -25. Now, if player number 1 remains silent and player number 2 confesses, that means player 1 gets -25 and player number 2 gets -1. Finally, if neither of the players would confess, then each of them will go to jail for 3 years. So this means that player number 1 and player number 2 both gets -3 as payoff. Now this is the normal form of the prisoner's dilemma scenario. Let's have a second example. Two companies share a market where they make 50 million pesos each. They need to decide whether they will advertise or not. Advertising costs 20 million pesos but captures 30 million pesos in revenues from the competitor provided that the competitor does not advertise. Let us construct the normal form of this game. Let us let capital A to be the strategy to advertise and capital N to be the strategy to not advertise. And suppose that both companies would advertise. In this case, company 1 will have 50 million minus 20 million pesos for advertising costs. Now, since company 2 is also advertising, company 1 will not capture 30 million pesos from company 2. So in this case, company 1 gets 30 million pesos. Now, same thing for company 2. Company 2 gets 50 million minus the cost of advertising, which is 20 million, and company 2 does not capture any revenue from company number 1. So company 2 will also get 30 million pesos. Now, if company 1 advertises and company 2 does not advertise, this means that company 1 loses 20 million pesos from advertising costs, so it will be deducted from the 50 million pesos, but company 1 gets additional of 30 million pesos since company 2 is not advertising. So in this case, company 1 gets 60 million pesos. Now for company 2, since they are not advertising, they won't lose 20 million pesos from advertising costs. However, since company 1 advertises and company 2 does not advertise, company 2 loses 30 million pesos since it is captured by company number 1. So in this case, company 2 gets only 20 million pesos. Now, similar to the explanation from the previous slide and reversing the roles of company 1 and company 2, in which company 1 does not advertise and company 2 advertises. This means that company 1 gets 20 million pesos while company 2 gets 60 million pesos. Now finally, if both companies do not advertise, then there will be no deduction from both company 1 and company 2. Thus, both companies would get 50 million pesos. So this is the normal form for this example. Now you have learned about the normal form of a game and how to create one. In the next videos, you will learn how to analyze the normal form of a game and how it will be used to analyze simultaneous games. So there will be different approaches to analyze the normal form of a game.